Hey everybody, Pete Blank here for this week's edition of Pete's Points. Normally doing these on the road, doing them outside somewhere due to the pandemic and due to the weather, doing a few more of these inside. And what I want to do this week is talk to you about Halloween candy. Halloween candy, and from a leadership perspective, how can you use this to motivate and inspire your team members or your coworkers? So again, if you may not believe in Halloween or do any of the things around the holiday, but this is a general fun, just quick overview of if you do decide to use a candy to kind of motivate or inspire a team member or something. Let me give you some examples of what you might do for fun. So let's go Jolly Ranchers. For example, if you've got an employee who's always happy and motivated and in a good mood and that type of stuff, you give them the Jolly Ranchers. You kind of tell them, hey, I appreciate your motivation all the way around that. Sour Patch Kids gets a negative vibe sometimes, but do you have the person in your office or the coworker, the team member who's always being realistic? Who's always saying, pick yourself up by your bootstraps, who's always saying, Walt Disney once said a kick in the teeth may be the best thing for you. That's the Sour Patch Kid, kind of lives in the realistic world. Maybe you got someone who's focused on data and facts. They're the sage of your office. Well, maybe they get the Smarties. They get the, hey, thank you for always being attention to detail, and all of the data that you pull up for me could be that. How about lifesavers? This is the person who, again, is just always out there looking at taking care of others. This is almost the caregiver of your group. When something is going bad or going wrong, either in your home life or your personal life, they're the lifesaver. They're always going to be there. How about the person who's always saying, why are you procrastinating? They've got good time management skills. They kind of are very focused. They get the now or laters, okay? Because the whole idea is, do you do it now or do you do it later? And what's the benefit around that? So that's kind of fun. You can see with this candy, you can kind of theme your motivation to it. Be careful with these two. You don't want to be giving anybody airheads and dum-dums and saying, here's what I think of you, you big dum-dum. So, unless it's funny, if they have a good sense of humor. What about chocolate? You can do the same thing for chocolate. You have an animal lover. They get a Kit Kat. And you talk about how, kit for kitten, how you love their love of animals and how maybe they're involved with pet therapy dogs, or maybe they've adopted a dog from a shelter. This could tie into that. You got people who are motivated by money. They're like, I want to get promoted. I want the next 5%. I want all of that. And again, we can talk about if money is a motivator or not, but everybody needs a good salary to live. So the 100 grand would be good for that. Do you have somebody who loves exercising? They probably won't even touch the candy. They love to exercise. They get the Nestle Crunch, for the crunches that I haven't done very many of them, but to tell them how you appreciate their passion around exercising. Hey, who's the team player in your department? All right, who gets the 3 musketeers? Because there's not one musketeer, there's 3. They're the one who will always jump in and help out, say, I appreciate you being part of the team, one of our musketeers. Who's your big picture person? Okay, they're the one that's always looking at the global picture, always taking in, well, what will this department say? What will this department say? How will they? That's the Milky Way, because it's more of a global thought process. And finally, what about Butterfinger? These are the people who are transparent. They drop the ball, they make mistakes, but they always come out and say, my bad. They always come out and say, hey, I dropped the ball on that project. I apologize. And you appreciate their openness and their transparency and all of that. Those are just a few. There's a million other things you can do. But what a fun way to kind of use candy either with your kids in your neighborhood or with your coworkers. And don't just pick a candy because it's cheap. You pick a candy to give to somebody because it ties into a leadership message or a motivational message. Kind of a fun way to look at Halloween candy this year. Hope that helped. Leave some more comments in the comments if you've got more ideas that might help each other. Appreciate that. See you next time on Pete's Points.